Recently, many Nigerians have seen themselves migrated from the Band B electricity tariff to the Band A electricity tariff. Let me explain it to you. The Band B electricity tariff is 67 naira per kilowatt hour, which is what we call 1 unit. But the Band A electricity tariff is 225 naira per kilowatt hour. That represents a 300% increment, but in literal English, that is 4 times what you have been paying before for electricity, now being what you are paying. And a lot of Nigerians are asking the question, how sustainable is this? Does the government have the right to do this? And how in the world are we going to survive with a thing like that? We have all the answers right here, so let's get straight to the point. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NEC) implemented the Service-Based Tariff (SBT) policy through the Multi-Year Tariff Order 2020, which introduced the band system for power distribution in Nigeria. This policy was designed to align electricity tariffs with the quality of service provided to different categories of consumers. The policy was given supplementary directive by the Migration of Customer for Service under Service Band Tariff Framework 2023, that is the Migration and Compensation Order. So with that being said, clearly the government has thought about it and has implemented policies to guide that. However, we as consumers, policy or no policy, it is painful. So right here in the studio, we have 2 people to talk about this. We have Mrs. Alvina.
Hello.
Alvina is just an electricity consumer who is not comfortable with this at all. And then we have Mr. Victor Ihau, who is a social affairs analyst, and he has his thoughts on this. Victor, let us start with you. How sustainable is this? Because that's the question everybody is asking.
Well, if you talk about sustainability, it's a government project.
Call it project.
Yes, I call it project because NEC ordinarily ought to be a regulatory agency, but in Nigeria, it's not. Most agencies or some agencies don't act by the law, because if you are a regulatory agency, you regulate, you supervise. You don't have what is it called? You don't have to take certain decisions like this price increase and all of this. It should be the work of the DISCOs, the AEDC. They are the ones that are supposed to, increase price, because they are the one running the business. You are just regulating, and regulating means that you have a certain procedure by which this company have to work with. Mm-hmm. So when they are going outside of the agreement, and that's when you come in. So the NEC ordinarily will have been the hope of the masses. If the business people, the AEDC, whatsoever, if they are, increasing prices unnecessarily, you now have to run to NEC. Exactly. Oh, these people that you contract this business to, they're not treating us well. But in this case, the people you want to run to, they are the one increasing the price. So, who do you now run to? Because they are the one increasing the price themselves.
Which is a big issue right now, because Alvin, I'll ask you, Band B to Band A, how are you surviving?
It's not sustainable at all because we cannot afford it. So it really doesn't make sense. Why do they want to classify people into bands? I see it as a class system where you're telling the poor people that it's okay to have 48 hours, and then the rich people can have 20 to 24 hours. Okay, what if I'm a rich man and I decide to build a house in Gwoboleda because my family members are there? I can afford Band A, but because I'm in a Band E environment, I'll have to make do with 4 to 8 hours. So I don't see it being sustainable at all, because the economic hardship is at its peak right now. Mm-hmm. Following the fourth subsidy removal. So I don't see how we can survive that.
Is it here is a case of electricity subsidy removal as well? Because government is literally saying we can't afford to pay this subsidy for electricity. Everybody has to pay for what they consume. But realistically, why should it have to be? Because the question here, and I'm posing it to both of you, especially with you, Victor, who's a social analyst. Why do we even have to have a band system? shouldn't electricity be uniform? As you use, as you consume, you pay. It's like everything that is metered. It's metered, isn't it? So it should be, if I'm using electricity 5 hours a day, I should pay for 5 hours a day. If I'm only using for 1 hour a day, I should pay for 1 hour. It's metered. So who decides that I in area A should be on band A and you in area B should be on band B? Why?
Well, in some countries, actually, you have the same services, but people pay differently. For instance, I know in London, my auntie, her council tax is even different from somebody in the same flat with her. You know, in Finland, my friend in Finland, there was a time I visited him, and he was telling me that the crèche that he used, he doesn't pay the same. Everybody don't pay the same amounts. You pay based on your class. So the classification is actually not a problem. The problem is that, do you give more light to people in band A and give less to people in band B? That's the problem for me. You can give everybody the same light, but we may not be able to pay the same amount of money because we have different, what is it called? Is it buy power? Purchasing power. Our purchasing powers are actually different. People that live in harbor area have a higher purchasing power, and people that live in the suburb have a lower purchasing power.
But I think that is an assumption, because in Nigeria, you can't really define what is highbrow and what is suburb. I'll give you an example. Just like she said, they are rich people living in the suburbs, mostly because that is where they could afford a property at that time, and they build their mansions there. And then there are people who moved into what is now a highbrow area when it was a suburb. But for some reason, maybe the migration or the introduction of amenities for some reason increased the class. But it hasn't increased. My purchasing power hasn't increased. So what immediately classified me as a person who has a higher purchasing power when I was already there, when the place was a suburb? Now that it's now a highbrow area, what am I supposed to do? Move out of my home? Because some rich people came in, and some, not all, because quite a number of people who are still middle class or low class might still be there. So what is the determinant?
Okay, this is more like it's a policy issue, and you don't win an argument in court by sentiments or whatever. It has to be by facts. So, for instance, let's use Abuja for instance. There's a master plan. There's highbrow area. There are central business districts. There are suburbs, and what have you. Wherever you find yourself, whether you have high purchasing power or low purchasing power, you just pay based on what is it called? The cost attached to that area.
Let me hold you on that. A place like we, from the very beginning, was never built as a highbrow area. It is a suburb. In fact, a lot of people came into those areas where there was absolutely nothing in Wye. It was meant to be a basic, regular, middle-class environment. Now, for some reason, I don't know, because maybe a new bridge was built at some point, and then maybe some people are finding it conducive and they're moving in there and building their own houses. All of a sudden, it becomes a highbrow area. What decided that? Based on you saying there's a master plan. How do you then convert a place that was initially said to be middle class or lowbrow then to highbrow? And there is no conversation about that. That's what I was asking about.
If you're talking about conversation, it's a different thing.
Okay, so when did the policy change? Because what I just read does not say that it is about the place. It's about the quality or quantity of power that you receive. That's what puts you in band A and band B. But the classification right now is now based on social class.
So there are different issues to discuss here.
Okay, go ahead.
So like I said, band or no band, there should be 24 hours electricity for everybody. These people are classified as high earners. They pay higher for the electricity. These people are classified as low earner. They pay lower amount, but they still get the electricity. Now, next says, oh, if you get these numbers of hours, you will be in band A. So the question is, okay, why?
Why?
Now, so I'm not speaking for the government. I am not on the side of government, and I can never be on the side of government.
Rationalize both sides.
So for me, I value my times. and I will not engage in unnecessary discussion when I know where exactly it's going to end. Because government, Nigeria, other places you might want to have a discussion. Because the old ban A, ban B, ban whatever, is just to raise fund. Because you remove subsidy, and then you are increasing the price. The last one they increased, they didn't tell anybody. We're just told that, they've increased the light 2 days ago. But everybody is okay with it. And so, because we are okay with it, they keep increasing it. So what makes we a hybrid area? The government did not consult anybody. They felt that, the way it's going, of course you can change your master plan, and then they change it. And there is nothing me and you can do about that. So the argument now is this sustainable? So let's come from the point of whether it is sustainable. And then we may be able to make a plea to the government to come from that aspect, maybe not fighting, but coming to a dialogue to discuss that, this thing is actually not sustainable.
Okay, so Alvin, I want to get your thoughts on this. He's saying because it's a government policy, it's like we're doomed. We don't have any say in this matter. There is nothing to be done. Do you agree with that?
Of course not. There is an infringement of our consumer rights here. Because every consumer, we have the right to be informed. We have the right to choose and to be heard. But there's no dialogue in this instance. We just woke up to this policy, which rolled out at a very, very bad time. The timing is ridiculous.
So as a people, what are the possible solutions? What are the other options?
Challenge them.
How?
You go on the streets.
We shouldn't just sit down and accept and say you carry your placard to the streets when you know they won't even look your way. So I think the best way is to go to the courts.
Is there a possibility that people could actually look at alternative sources of power? When people find other means of generating power, then they will see a decrease in revenue.
There's a power of social media in business. You can pull down a business on social media.